Shut up and sit
So,
down.
do you think he actually knows Yoongi's name?
I think if he thought about it, like maybe
okay.
not off the dome, he would be like, yeah. But when I was like, you know the name, he was like,
Oh, okay. Welcome back to another episode of the Bias Effect podcast. It's Nikki.
It's QJ. Shiny's back. Shiny's back. Shiny's back.
Shiny world! So, we're doing another solo episode breakdown of solos.
Yep. Exactly.
We did BTS before, where we broke down all of the BTS members' solo work. So now we're going to do it with Shinee. At least this will be only 5 members. So we will talk about Jonghyun's solos as well. It's only fair to at least discuss it a bit. But we will only do our ranking on 1 to 4 of the 4 members. Because I honestly didn't even know he did do solo work before doing this. Like, I didn't realize he was able to release work before he passed.
As far as I know, I think he might have been the first one, and then I think it was Taemin after. Or they were like around the same time.
Yeah, I think you're right, actually. I have that all in my stats here, but...
Yeah, I'm sure we'll go through like when they release their first solos and stuff like that. Like, I mean, it's only 5 people, but they have so many albums that it to me seemed like even more work than BTS.
It honestly did for me as well. It was actually... We'll talk about it when we get to them, but there's one of them, but I was like, I'm exhausted at this point.
Yeah,
of the amount of...
I couldn't finish one, like full stop. I couldn't finish it.
So yeah, I mean, we could just get started, but we know
Shiny's back.
We talked about Shinee a bit before, and I think our first episode we talked about Shinee.
Yeah, I think in our like kind of overview we talked a little bit about older groups that we were also getting into and stuff.
Yeah, and so Shinee is one of I think they're in Gen 3? Gen 2.
Yeah.
Okay, so Shinee is a part of Gen 2.
So Gen 2 is 2003 to 2011, I believe. Yeah, Gen 2 is 2003 to 2011 debuts, and Shinee debuted in 2008, I believe.
Yeah, that sounds right, which blows my mind. Because
I
feel like, in my mind, I associate Shinee and BTS like the similar era, but they weren't at all. But they're like similar ages a bit. So anyway, that's where I get they must have been they would have been really young when they started. Like, I think Taemin was like a literal child when he started.
Well, I was gonna say it's like almost a little easy to think about the timeline because Onew was born the same year that I was born. So when I was in college, he was debuting in Shinee.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, true, because 2008 was my last year of high school, so...
Yeah, it was like my first year of college, I think.
Gross. Only me. Yeah, you're old.
But if you think about it in that terms, like, I could debut in college. That seems reasonable. But then you have to think that's the oldest guy. So they get lower from there to being in high school and to being however old Taemin is, 97, right? No, 93, yeah, that's right.
93, yeah. So Jonghyun was my age too. So that's like me debuting at literally the end of high school. That's insane in my mind. But I know Jungkook did it, a lot of them did it.
I mean, it does make some sense, the style choices, if I think about how I was dressing in grade 12. Yeah, maybe I probably would have looked like that too.
I mean, we talk about it a bit, but just the way S&M styles people, I don't understand. Like EXO-2, Shinee, I never really fully understand it. It's just, it's bizarre to me. But yeah, they looked rough early years. I guess that was the style, especially alternative style in North America. I do remember those certain bands having that crazy hair, but they made Taemin, who's a very good-looking dude, hideous in my personal opinion. He's a great-looking guy, but they gave him this most hideous absolute bowl cut that made him look like he was 12.
The bowl cut is tough. The bowl cut's
and he had really long hair at one point, which again I'm usually a fan of long-haired dudes, but again, it looked like they didn't even style it or anything. Anyway.
Yeah, it was a wasteland of a time.
It really was, but
we still like them though. The music comes through.
The talent comes through. The music comes through. the personality comes through. We love them all. But do you want to read the fun fact you had? Just you have
Oh, this?
if you want. I don't know if you want to.
It was just so random when I was going through them. I noticed like an OST song from Onew, and then as I was going through them in age order, and when I got to Taemin, he had the same song from this same webtoon OST for No Office Romance. And then when I clicked on it, I saw there was a boys song for that too, and I was like, what the what is this? So, gotta watch this webtoon apparently.
No Office Romance sounds right up my alley.
Yeah,
um,
I was like, title's got me.
I know it is kind of I guess it makes sense, but it's so intertwined. All the K dramas, web series, whatever, always have someone from the K-pop world do some kind of song. You look at any of
Yeah.
these solos, like I usually when I pull the data, I only really do their actual full release like mini albums and albums, but you can there's tons of singles that they do for OST. Like it's it's a lot basically,
Yeah.
but yeah, so we'll go through in band order like we did, which is leader than leader than age order, but I think this one all works out in age order anyway. I didn't honestly when I was doing my research, I didn't fully realize Onew was the leader. Like I figured he might have been, but I
Yeah.
didn't know he
He
was.
doesn't really give leader
Yeah,
vibes, but
exactly. So we'll start with Onew. He was born in 1989. He was the leader and he's the main vocalist of Shinee. His first solo release was in 2016, 8 years after they debuted, called Starry Night, featuring Lin Ji and Jin Ah from SM Station 2 mil listens. And then he has a bunch of albums: Voice, Dice, Life Goes On, Circle, Flow, Connection, and that's from 2018 to 2025. So like he just released that Connection EP. Some of his top songs on Spotify is Dice with 7 million, Oh Circle, from Circle, 4 million, 4.8 million, Lullaby featuring Rockoberry, a single, 4.8 million. Again, Onew was one of the ones where I was like, damn, this guy's got a lot of music out there. Actually, a lot. Like we'll get to it, but there's only one. I think one guy that only has like nothing out there. But overall, okay. Again, I love Onew. He's my man. But he's got a very like he's got like kind of like a musical theater vibe a bit,
yeah.
and again very powerful ballads and most of the time. So like as like an overall music style, it's usually not my favorite, but it's very good. He's very good at what he does, and it's yeah, I get some good songs off of it again, but I find it hard to like be like, yeah, I'm super into listening to ballads all the time. It's just not my overall vibe, but he's a good singer.
I was surprised a little bit. There were a couple albums where it was like kind of funky. Like I was just expecting mostly just ballads, but like when I was listening to the Connection album, I thought that album was like a little bit more funky than the other stuff, which was kind of fun. I agree that it has a musical theater vibe to it. Because the first time I heard the song Blue, I thought that was just like, that to me screams like stage, like play song. So I agree there's like a musical vibe to it, but it makes me like it a lot because I do like listening to like musicals and like their albums and stuff. So, but I really like his thing. It was hard for me to go through because I have already listened to a bit of all of them solo when I was listening to Shiny. So a lot of their like title tracks I definitely already know. So it was hard for me to go through now and find like new songs to like. So a lot of the songs I like were title tracks.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. Like I found that too with Onew stuff too. Like I didn't really like I liked a lot of his music, but it was probably yeah, like more of his single track or title tracks, as you say. Like Blue will always be in my heart because that's the one you showed me first. You were like, you gotta get into the solo work, and it was Blue, and I was like, okay, whatever. And I listened to it, I was like, that is insane.
Yeah.
But I also like you said, there was his album Dice actually also had a different kind of sound. I feel like it was almost like more on the poppier side. So I did like Dice a bit, and then yeah, Connection as well. That album
Hmm.
was slightly so yeah, okay, go Onew. But I liked I liked Caramel from his Circle album.
Yeah.
And I think it's his Life Goes On. That's a really good song too. And I did like
Yeah,
Mad.
I love that song.
His new single, Mad was
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, I like Blue, obviously. It's like the first song. I like Life Goes On as well. I liked Winner, which was like from the Connection album. I think he had an MV for it earlier this year. Like Inspiration, which is just a single. I remember Caramel, and I remember like hearing it and thinking like, whoa, this song's kind of funny.
Yeah, it was cute.
Yeah, I had a bunch that I like picked out that I liked, but they all kind of had the same vibe. There was one song I remember listening to. It was off the Circle album and it's called Paradise. And the background of the song, there's like a dinging sound that sounds exactly like Teams. So as I was listening to it, I was working, and every time I was like, look back on my computer, like, hmm?
Oh my gosh, that's so funny you say that. I don't know if it was that song, but there was a song, well, during this whole process of all of them, where I was listening to it, and I swear to God, it was something was like crashing, like in the song, but I thought it was like outside my room. Anyway, it was giving me this paranoid delusion while I was listening to the song. So, but yeah, and it, again, interesting, he changed. I can't remember if his first couple albums were with SM or not, but he eventually switched to a different agency for his solo work. So maybe that's where we saw a bit of a change when he changed labels. I don't know.
Hmm. I just felt like he tried some things and like he's really like honed his craft. Like I feel like if you listen through when you get to Connection, I feel like that's such a really solid like good album that I just like yeah, I like him. He's number 2 for me.
Number two. Um, Slight pause. I totally forgot to rank my people, so I gotta rank them on the fly.
We literally just said this.
I know. But I was like, oh wait, I guess I didn't like formally put them in order. I kind of had a mental order that I was like, oh my god, now I'm panicking. Um, okay. Oh, and it was also my number 2.
I kind of thought that would happen. I wasn't really sure at first. Well, actually, no, I was sure. I knew, like, going into this, I knew exactly who was going to be number 1 and 2
Really?
and 3.
Oh.
Yeah, for sure. There's only one person that I was like, if I listen, maybe they'll surprise me and I'll have to switch it up. But they didn't surprise me, so I didn't have to switch it up. But yeah.
Like for you mean? Like you knew what your order
Yeah.
was going to be? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I was very surprised by someone, and that person we'll get to. But like Onew is what I thought he was going to be, which, yeah, very good at his craft. Trying a few different styles, but pretty much all aligns. And when I was doing some research into Onew, he actually does have a musical theater background, and I think he even did his theater service, or sorry, his service. It was like in somehow a musical theater section of the army, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, he even like did the musical Rock of Ages, so like he's fully in like musical theater. That's his background. He also had like surgery on his vocal cords, which is so scary because he had like polyps and stuff. So I think we might have discussed that. But anyway, next one in order is Jonghyun, but we'll save Jonghyun for last. So then the next one would be Key. He was born in 91. He's the lead rapper, lead dancer, and sub-vocalist. What?
You know you put your ranking into the regular document, right? I was like, why does this have a 1 beside it?
Damn it!
That's fine. I knew it was gonna be
Okay.
so but funny. I was like, wait, what?
Well, it's here.
Okay.
Number 1, the Key.
Okay.
Take the suspense out. Okay, don't scroll down. I'll take the other ones out.
I think I already saw the next one.
Yeah, that's fine. We kind of figured out this was happening. Key, born in 91. He's the lead rapper, lead dancer, and sub-vocalist of Shinee. His first solo release was in 2016, 8 years after his debut. It was for Magic Adventures OST. It was 2 songs. Key of Secret and Key of Magic. He has quite a handful of albums. Face was his first album. Hologram, I Wanna Be, Bad Love, Gasoline, Killer, Good and Great, and Pleasure Shop. These were all released between 2018 and 2024. So his top songs are "Hate That" featuring Taeyoung from the album Bad Love. It's 30 million. One of those nights featuring Crush either on "Wanna Be Your Face." He did a lot of repackages, so they're on both of those albums. And then "I Wanna Be" from "I Wanna Be" 19 million. So he's got popping off on his singles.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
true.
so I was the most surprised by Key going through all of this. I wasn't expecting Key at all. I didn't really. I only knew like he's just kind of this like vibrant personality in the group, and I was like, okay, whatever. But girl, he's got this like 80s synth vibe on a lot of his songs, and I was like
Yeah.
here for so many of this. I was really not surprised. He has a really nice voice too, which I again just didn't put together with him. Blown away basically by his stuff. He's my number one for sure of all of them.
Yeah.
So
He's my number one as well. I kind of knew like obviously because I had dabbled a little already. I was like, it's good. It's really good. But I do remember like early on listening and thinking kind of the same thing where I was just like, oh yeah, like I don't really know what to expect. But then when I heard it, I was like, wow, these are all really good jams.
like bangers too. Again,
And first of all, his albums concepts are like so fucking cool. One of them comes with a martini glass. Like one of
what?
them comes as a floppy disk. I like this
Oh,
guy. He has like magazine ones. He has like a one that's like a case file. Like the concepts of his albums are like so creative and like so fun that I'm like I want to buy his albums.
yeah, I gotta. I for sure was interested. I gotta buy some of his albums too. I remember you telling me about the floppy disk one, and I totally forgot about. Yeah, his albums are so unique. But I did look into the act, but even just the cover art of the albums were like so cool. Like his Killer
Yeah.
album, it's like this, yeah, like super like Tron almost looking concept, and so yeah, that's exciting because I want to buy
Yeah.
one of his
I
albums
want the
for sure.
floppy disk one so bad.
Do you know which? Do you remember which one that is?
I think it's gasoline.
It's a solid
The
album.
one with
So
the martini glass is Pleasure Shop. I know
okay, perfect.
that. I know. Like I'm obsessed. It's so fun, like so creative. I love it.
Okay, good because I love Pleasure Shop. I love probably my favorite song of his is actually Novocaine from Pleasure
Mm,
Shop. I love that song, but I also love a lot of songs off the Killer album.
yeah.
Yeah, like I could read all like Killer Bound, Easy Burn, like they're all so good. I was just super surprised with like how many songs I loved off of his albums
Hmm.
and just like yeah, the overall vibe I really just wasn't expecting. And again, it's because we'll get to like the other artists, but they have a lot of hits too. I find, but I know there's something unique about Key's sound to me that just
Yeah.
really drew me in. Like even the way his voice sounds, and I again.
Make a list. We need a mom drop
We need
on
a
that
mom
one.
drop. We need a mom check for sure. So I don't know what else to say about him other than I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed.
Yeah. I wrote songs I liked down, but it would get to the point where I was just like, okay, I just like this album.
Yeah,
Like I liked a
totally.
lot of the songs off of Pleasure Shop. But I think Good and Great is like might be my favorite album from him. That one I like had the most songs that I pulled from. I
Yeah.
Bad Love is like one of my favorite songs for sure though. That song's so good. And like yeah, all of his like title tracks like I Want to Be, Gasoline, Killer, those are all like fire songs also. Like they were just all so good.
Yeah, yeah, and I like even Face. Like I have so many songs off Face that's like his first album. Like it's just like blows me away when like someone's first. I mean, again, I know he was in Shiny and all that, but like when your first album that you drop is
Yeah.
an absolute fucking banger, like I'm like okay, okay, sure.
Yeah. I had Novocaine also. I thought that was a really nice song too.
I love that song. Like I know I'm hooked when I'm like I want to listen to it right now. Like I love that song. But yeah, Bad Love too. I have that song too. Hate That. I do really like Hate That as
Mm,
well.
yeah,
Which but
I know.
I can't. I know. I now I get the hype because I remember when you were first getting into Shiny, you're like, he's pretty cool. You're like, he's pretty funny and all this. And I was like, sure, whatever. Like I was like, okay. But now listening to his music, I was like, I have mad respect for him.
Yeah, I yeah, definitely kind of had the same thing and like I wouldn't really have considered him as biased just cuz like his vibe is like a little bit effeminate, which is fine, but like if I think about other idols that I bias, they don't really have that sort of, well, you would probably say that they do, but I don't think that they do.
I mean, you have a type.
So I didn't really think about him, but I've seen a lot of like interviews with him. He does a lot of emceeing, blah blah blah, and like his personality in general is very like dry and like sarcastic. So like he's also like insanely funny, and he can look really good. And then he also has like really good music. So I'm like, I don't know, man. It's
I mean,
good.
he fits my MO for you perfectly. Like, again, but like just in the sense of like, yeah, dry humor, that's usually stuff like you're into. And he's very like, he's got the J Hope stank face where he's like, if he doesn't like something, it's like all over his face, which I'm obsessed with. Yeah, he just, again, I was super surprised by him.
Yeah.
We stand Key. Well, we stand everyone in Chinese, but
Yeah, true.
But yeah, mad respect. And like again, I was surprised too. Not surprised per se, but they're still so active. Like yeah, his Pleasure Shop came out in 2024. Onew's last album came out in 2025. So we got a lot of years ahead still. I feel like for Shinee solo Shinee.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Okay. So the next one in line is Minho. He's the main rapper, sub vocalist, and visual of Shinee. I didn't realize he was the full visual of Shinee.
Yeah, that seems I mean, I'm here for it, but it does seem surprising to me.
Yeah,
I
I
thought it
know.
would be Taemin. I could also see it as like a Jin thing though, because he does it like, I mean, I love Minho, but he does have sort of like a, I don't want to say plain, but yeah, plain look.
Yeah, no, like it's got that standard beauty look, right?
Yeah,
And
that,
I think we
yeah,
always use that clip that we see on like Instagram where they're at like some kind of restaurant and the girl's like, "Oh my god, you're so beautiful" or whatever, and it's like Minho, and he's like, So I guess, yeah, like I could see, like
yeah,
to me, Minho looks like a classical, handsome guy that like you'd see anywhere type of thing.
yeah,
Not super unique, as you would say, but very handsome. But anyway, so yeah, he's the visual of the group, I guess. But yeah, he's the one that doesn't have as much solo work. His first solo single was in 2019, 11 years after debut with "I'm Home." It was a single, and then he had two albums, one mini album, Chase, which you got a little mini album,
yeah.
and then Callback was his first full album in 2024. On Spotify, his top songs were Heartbreak from Chase, 8.6 million, Chase from Chase, 6.1 million, and then his I'm Home single, 4.6 million. Yeah, nothing really stood out for me, you know. I just, it wasn't, nothing really hit me per se with it. I was like, it's pretty average to me.
Yeah, I figured. I like it. I feel like it's kind of like smooth and like R&B-ish, like
Your sultry vibes.
yeah, a little sultry. So I like it. I like both of his albums, like most of the songs off them, but Heartbreak is like kind of my favorite song.
I did like Heartbreak. I liked Falling Free, which I think was like not on any of his
Yeah.
albums, but and then Came and Left Me was good too. That's it. Yeah, I honestly it just kind of washed away in most of the
I to me I feel like he went solo a little later than the
Yeah.
rest of them, like 2019. So like I guess my hope would be that he's not giving up on it yet, like, and that he could keep releasing some stuff from here. He doesn't really strike me as like the solo guy that much. I think he does more like acting and emceeing and then like shiny stuff than solo stuff. So maybe not, or maybe not for like a long periods of time. But I hope he does some more.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see him do more for sure, to see if like he can pivot in the style or anything like that. But yeah, it is funny that we're noticing you definitely are more into a sultry vibe than I am per se. Cause yeah, well, he was also like labeled the lead rapper too, so it's like interesting to see him do more like just yeah, like sultry R&B style music.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good point though. He is very like personality based. Like I see him, I think we saw him like host something randomly. We're like, oh, that's Minho. Like he's hosting.
Yeah, he's just
This.
like anytime I see a clip from anything, he's always on the stage somewhere. I'm like, okay, he's just hosting this also, I guess. Like, he's just always everywhere.
That's so true. Oh yeah, there's that random clip we saw of like Melania Trump, and like Mina was like right behind her. I was like, what is happening? What is this
I think that's from
crossover?
the Olympics or
Oh,
something.
okay.
And like she says something to him like, "Oh, everyone's like really going crazy." And he's like, "Yeah." Like he doesn't say that, but she's like she doesn't understand why everyone's screaming at him. She's like, "Oh, like that's crazy." And he's just like, "Yeah, it is what it is."
Humble. He's like, I'm the visual. Okay, everyone
Yeah.
loves me.
He's like,
It
"Look at
reminds me
me."
of that clip we saw recently of even like Scoops, S Coops.
Yeah, I was just thinking that too. I was like, for a second, I was like, didn't he also get seen with?
Yeah, I don't know where they were, like what it was. It was some kind of event, and Jeff Goldblum and his partner, they were like, "Oh my god!" Like there's like a lineup of like people screaming, like, "Oh!" Like trying to take photos, but there's like really S Coops is walking behind them, and it gets in a
Yeah.
car, and you're like, "Yeah, that is the power of K-pop." Jeff Goldblum. And it was so funny, yeah, because even the girl was like, "Oh, like this, like it's not for you, honey. It's
Yeah, we're
for
like, it's
S
not for
Coops."
you.
Okay.
Yeah, I do find that funny though when you see like international celebrities with them and they're like, this is crazy. And they're like, oh, this is like every day.
Yeah, you're like,
Like, this is me at the airport.
yeah. But yeah, all the best to Mio. But I guess he is your.
Yeah, so I actually like I wasn't really sure at first and I really had to like think about it between him and Taemin for my order and I put him at 3 because he's my bias.
Okay, at least you're honest about it.
Yeah, well, because he doesn't really have a lot of music, right? And
Yeah.
obviously, like if you're comparing him to Taemin, Taemin has the most music. But as I alluded to earlier, there was someone I didn't finish, and I didn't finish Taemin,
Yeah.
so that factored into it for me. And then the fact that he's my bias, I was like, yeah, I think I'll put this. Like I put him as number 3 for me personally.
Obviously. I knew it. He's my number 5, for sure.
Yeah,
Which
I knew exactly what both of our. I knew exactly what your order was.
Well,
Gonna
that's
be.
cool. I'm glad that you tagged me for Key, because I was excited to go on that ride. Was Key one of the ones? Oh no, it was J-Hope. J-Hope, where you were like, you need to listen to solo music. I thought it was Key at first, but no, it was J-Hope you did that for. Like,
Yeah. But I did figure like once you started, I was like, there's no way that like he has the most like energetic music out of all of them. So
it's like
I
my
was like,
style
it's
of
gonna
music too. You kind of know what I
yeah.
am into. And with that being said, we'll get on to Mr. Taemin. My goodness. So Taemin was born in '93. He was the main dancer, sub-vocalist, and he was the magnet of Shinee. He was also quite young to start his solo career. Jonghyun was the first, but then it was Taemin in 2014. It was only 6 years after debut, and he first soloed with like, his first mini album. Like, it wasn't even just a single. He's like, I'm releasing a full mini album. Okay. So yeah, he had Ace. Okay, so I'm gonna go through the whole list, but yeah, Taemin, my God, can you take a break? Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand how much music you've released. Okay, so Ace, Press It. He had a Japanese EP, Flame of Love EP, Move, second album. Then he had Move In, second album repackaged. Then Taemin, Want, Famous, Never Gonna Dance Again, Act 1, Never Gonna Dance Again, Act 2, Advice, Guilty, and Eternal. And he's released all that in 10 years, I guess, between 2014 and 2024. Okay. That is a lot for just I was quote unquote normal solo artist.
Yeah.
This guy has been pumping out music solo since he was like what 20? I can't do math in my head. How old is he?
21?
21? Since he was 20? That's insane.
He loves music.
He does love music. His top Spotify songs were like all of his title tracks. So Move, 124 million. Advice, 77 million. Guilty, 65 million.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say because you talked about the albums
Yeah.
just now, like I fully didn't listen to Ace or Press It. Like I was working in reverse order, so I
Okay.
didn't listen to the first 2
Okay.
albums
That's fine.
or the Japanese album. I got to Flame of Love and I was like, okay, I think I get it.
yeah. So I went the other way. I always start from the earliest to latest.
Yeah.
And when I got to like Never Gonna Dance, I was like, yeah, I get it as well. So again, he has some really good songs in there, like some really catchy songs. A lot songs that I really like. Like I have a lot that I saved from him, but at the same time, it's pretty much all the same style. Like he doesn't really go too far out of his comfort zone again, which is fine. And again, I saved a lot of his songs into my playlist. Like there's some really good songs in there, but I was just like, okay, bro, like how much more music can you make at the same time? I'm just it's a lot. It was a lot. It was a lot. I had to take a
Yeah,
break listening to him too.
I agree that it had like very similar vibes to it. Like I do think that over time he's gotten more refined at his like style of music, but it really like didn't take any like left turns at all, which is fine. Like if that's the music he likes to make, that's the music he likes to make.
Exactly.
And like I said, I do think it's like refined and like the his more recent albums I did think were like pretty like well made and pretty sexy compared to like the older albums where I was like the older albums were just kind of like, finding your way a little bit more.
Yeah, yeah, I would say that too. And there were some songs too, were quite beautiful ballads too. There are some quite beautiful ballads in the mix, and then um, like I really love Flame of Love. Actually, I really love that song a lot, and he also does a Korean version of it as well. So, and I actually pretty much really liked his Move album. Was one of my favorite albums by him. But yeah, very consistent, very yeah, catchy music. If someone throws on Taemin, I won't be upset. But it was just like, yeah, a lot. And I'm like, I don't really understand how someone can make so much music. And like you said, he's probably if you love it, you love it, you love him. He seems to love doing what he does. So
Yeah. I mean, he obviously is like super passionate about it. I liked a lot of his title tracks, like Guilty and Want and things like Advice, like those
yeah,
ones. I think I liked the Never Gonna Dance Again
mm,
album because that I think that was the one that had some more of the like softer songs on it. So I thought that album was pretty interesting.
yeah.
My absolute top song is Shadow though. That song is like so good. I can't remember what album it's from. I think it might be from the Taemin album.
It's from one. Yeah, that's I have that song too. Yeah, it's a great. I agree with the Never Gonna Dance Again. Yeah, I think I had like Pansy on there,
Yeah,
which is a nice.
I have that song too.
That's a good way of breaking that down. He kind of took a turn there, a bit turnish, to be more softer in those ones, and then he was like, "No, I'm going back to sexy
Yeah.
beats." um, but then like again with Taemin too, is he's a very good dancer. So a lot of these later ones, he has this crazy dance sequences as long
Yeah.
with these songs. So like as we know, Guilty, that dance sequence, everyone does that. Like the whole
Yeah.
hand up the shirt, we're like, whoa, okay, brother. So he's definitely got something going for him out there. I was just, yeah, I was totally thrown off by how much music he had, though. I know I've
Yeah.
said it 1,000 times now, but I was truly like, and okay, let me put it this way, because when you start listening to some solo music, usually from what I've noticed it with K-pop, it's usually like like mini albums, like 7 songs. This guy had like 12-song albums, and I'm like,
Yeah, like
holy
full
mo,
albums.
full albums. So I'm like, what are we doing? You're tiring me out, my guy. But like you said in the beginning with the BTS, like, and I find with BTS too, like each artist had like a very unique perspective. The Shinee soloist, the kind of I can feel like mixed together better or more in line-ish than the vast difference of BTS. So when listening to all of it
Yeah.
together, I was like, okay. But yeah, I feel like there's overall, if you broke down the amount of time, like all of Shinee's solos were compared to BTS, I feel like Shinee would be so much longer.
I feel like Taemin on his own was like the amount of solo stuff that everyone
Yeah,
else had.
exactly, exactly. So, but yeah, so then because we already revealed Taemin was my 3 and he's your 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, makes sense. So with that, we'll talk about Jonghyun.
Yeah, let's just do a quick trigger warning here because we're talking about Jonghyun. We're probably going to reference a little bit of self-harm, suicide, mental health struggles. So if that's something that makes people listening uncomfortable, you can probably just end the episode here for yourself, and we'll see you in the next one. Okay, go ahead.
So, Jonghyun was born in 1990. He was the lead vocalist, I believe. Yeah, main vocalist of Shinee. I really, really like Jonghyun. Like, I really, when I first started listening to Shinee, because we both, before going into Shinee, was like, this might be really tough for us because we know that a certain member is passed. So if we start to like gravitate to one of them, it's gonna be tough. And I did naturally gravitate towards his voice when listening, and I was like, oh man, that's tough. So I really liked listening to his music, but I kind of, you were saying that it sounds a lot like Shinee to you. So yeah, so maybe that's, I didn't really put that two together, but um I just really liked it. Like but his first solo release, he was the first to go solo or do solo work in Shinee in 2013, 5 years after debut. He did a song for an OST for the show called Dream of the Emperor. He had a few albums, so Bass, Jonghyun the Collection, Story OP1, She Is, Jonghyun the Collection, Story OP2, and then Poet the Artist, which was released after he passed away. His top songs on Spotify are Moon from She Is, 14 million, End of a Day, Collection Story OP1, 20 million, and then Lonely Collection Story OP2, 46 million. Yeah, he has some very beautiful songs in the mix here. And I personally did find it interesting because I felt like he did mix up his sound a bit, because like he would have like one album that was kind of like super ballady, but then the one song that was like kind of like funky or like poppy too, and I was like, oh, okay. But I guess that kind of, like you were saying, does fit in with Shinee's vibe in general.
I think because he is the main vocalist of Shinee, that like when I listen to it, like that's just like naturally just what I can hear, and I feel like he has that like ability to belt and like, big grand like notes and projection that is present in a lot of Shinee music. So when I listen to his solo stuff, I was like I could really see like the influence probably from like both sides of it. And like I mean it's like it's such like a like obvious and like shitty thing, but like it's so seems so unfair to me that like he can never grow any further from here. Like his music exists like from this moment where to me I see like the Shiny connection, and like I don't get I like as a fan I will never get to see like where could he have gone from there, which is like we talked a little bit about if we should put him in our ranking and stuff like that, but was why I like struggled so much to even like consider ranking him, because I was thinking like there's nowhere for it to go from here. Whereas like even like someone like Taemin, like I was saying, it got like sexier over time. I like this is just it exists as it is, and like it is beautiful. Like you can tell he's so talented and he's such a good singer and songwriter. Like you can feel that a lot in the music. It just seems like it was just like to me, I just felt like there's no justice in this world. Like when I finished listening to it, I was like, this is just like it's just bullshit. Like I mean I don't know, obviously we don't know what he went through, we don't know, nobody really knows what happened, like that's his story, that's his life or whatever, but like I'm like it's bullshit.
Maybe that's why I was drawn to it too. Is that I was surprised first of all to know that he had solo music. I just didn't think he had the time to do it in that sense of like, of his life. And then when I was listening to it, I'm like, oh my god, this is some of these songs are truly touching. Like, Diphilia Gray, that means skeleton flower, or it's the Latin term for skeleton flower. I was like, that song is like absolutely heartbreaking. Like you can hear the his like soul through that song basically, and like you
Yeah.
said, like he's a and I think he was one of the main songwriters or like in Shiny. So again, like you said, you could see the parallels between them. But there's so many songs I was like, holy shit, like I'm just like this guy, yeah, super talented, beautiful voice, and really could hear it through his music. And I'm like, that sucks, like you said, that it's gone.
Yeah.
But the one thing I was happy about is that we do have this little pocket of him, just him too, of like that we can always go back to like still lives that way. Because often when I think about that type of thing, that he went through, it's like some people don't even have, like, they're just gone and they have nothing in the world to like.
Yeah, he has like a legacy that he's like left behind that everybody can like still connect with and enjoy and appreciate.
Exactly. And I think he's a very important story in the K-pop industry as a whole. I think it's this very tragic, awful thing, but I think he's a very important.
Yeah, it's like similar to the vein like in our last episode for April comebacks, we talked a little bit about Moonbin. Like both like that kind of thing in general is just like important to like talk about and like remember people like that and like keep sharing their like music and their stories, or because like then it's just gonna like be a perpetual cycle if you just ignore what's happening. And I mean, I hope that their friends and family feel the same way.
Yeah. So yeah, that's our opinion, of course, on that. But yeah, like you said, like I hope the families can find a similar piece, the friends and family, from how it appears on our end. At least it feels like for the other Shinee members that when they perform, they're still with him on stage. So that's a nice thought anyway, I hope.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like they always sort of at least try to like make some sort of reference to him. Like I've seen a lot of things where they're like looking up to the heavens, and things like that. Like when they talk about Shiny, they talk about it in terms of like five. They don't shy away from talking about Jonghyun in general. Like I saw a really like touching interview with Key where he was like, he kind of said a similar thing where he was just like, he thinks a lot about like what would these newer albums have been like if he was still here, like how would have things gone if he was still here. Like he thinks about that. He said he like never stops thinking about him.
I
He's always
know.
like thinking about him and like what ifs and stuff like that, and like it's still something that like really like troubles him. Like, it's like so they don't shy away from talking about like him and in general, which is like I think a really good thing.
Yeah, When I was doing some research into that whole event, I noticed that too. Like he seemed the most affected, visually
Yeah.
or visibly, about his death. And I can't even like begin to understand that pain, because not only are you like best friends with this person, but you have shared like a brotherhood with this person, and now they're just gone. And like you said, they did everything with him. So yeah. So I mean, anyway, like you said, an important story that we wanted to honor that too. So we obviously needed to talk about his solo work. But again, it felt odd to rank him, but he's always there. He's always there
Yeah.
with them. So
He's the forever member, so he's got the forever spot. I mean, I guess to say like I did really enjoy his collection albums, like both of them. I thought they were really good, but I think my favorite song was "Lonely."
yeah,
I thought that song was really beautiful and nice and good.
I know. Yeah. There's so many songs. I actually really liked his Poet and his She Is. I liked a lot of his music. I was again kind of surprised how much I did like his music. And I will continue to listen to his music. But I would say that pretty much does wrap up our Shiny solo listing. So we can go through it again. So we have Jonghyun or Forever. Um, for me, Key, number one, Onew, uh, Taemin, and then Minho. Yours?
Yeah. Key, Onew, Minho,
Yeah.
Taemin.
So, yeah, we're pretty aligned there.
Yeah, I
Makes
kind
sense.
of thought we would be like just because even like you were saying how like in general, as even though they're solos, it's not like vastly different from Shiny and that kind of style. So I was like, there's not really gonna be drastic opinions here.
To me, that's probably why I liked it so much. Key was the most unique out of all of them, I would say. And like even compared to
True.
Shiny's sound, like he was way more, I feel like, poppy synthy than their work fully is. But yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like
True.
compared to like BTS, where you go, RM sounds nothing like BTS.
Yeah.
Like he was like
Yeah.
total opposite of BTS, right? But anyway, alas, Shiny World.
Shiny's back. Shiny's back. Shiny's back.
And that wraps that up. And we'll catch you on the flip side.
See you next week.